and a warm welcome. I'm Priyanka, your Coach Connecting Officer, reporting from Matrix. So, today I'm connecting from France, and I'm very excited for our guest today. So, Coach Connect is a platform where we invite professionals who've been associated with Matrix, work of some influential people, impacting lives, and knowing what they're doing in the field of coaching as an industry, because we know that coaching is an emerging language of the world. So the world as we know is going with rocket speed. There are new approaches that come every day. So now we have new ideas, innovations, and approaches that come into line with organizations, and everybody has a voice to share. So Coach Connect is a space, is a platform for all of our professionals who are here willing to share the work that they do. One of the biggest challenges that we deal today is dealing with inclusion and diversity. And today on Coach Connect, we have got an amazing and ever trending topic of dealing with diversities with a specific approach, and that is DEAI. So, it is a very important introduction for me as a person who is working with people and also with Matrix as an organization and all the coaches who are with us today. Welcome, everybody, and I'm excited for the event that we have. And our guest for today is Dr. Tejaswini Mure. Hi, Tejaswini.
Hi Priyanka, thank you for the introduction and thank you for having me here on this platform.
It's a pleasure to
Lovely.
have you. So, before we begin, I really want to elaborate and share all our audience today the work that you do. So Tejaswini is playing a massive role of joining all the dots in the eminent organization since 12 plus years. She's an ICF certified coach through Matrix. And for me, the most exciting part is she's a doctorate. And she has a doctorate on access to information for visual impaired students in Mumbai and Pune region. She's got few research papers released on inclusion of information. She's pioneered in building unique projects in accessibility, inclusion, empowering people in places, exactly what she's been doing professionally and personally. She's a passionate people in support and growth, and a person-driven professional. Tejaswini, we are happy to connect with you. We are excited to learn what DEAI is and the approach. So let me begin without any delay. Tell us the work that you do.
Again, thank you for the wonderful introduction, Priyanka. So happy to be here and connecting over through this platform. To talk about my work, currently leading some efforts for the learning and development team at a global fintech.
Okay.
And to talk a little bit more about that role, the role gives me an opportunity to be involved with two things that I'm always excited about. First is the science of learning and how people learn and interact with people. And
Okay.
second is to drive projects around that ensure inclusion. So, through the path of information accessibility for all, and all workplaces do focus on the aspect of diversity, equity, inclusion, accessibility. And with my projects at my workplace, I'm able to contribute through that angle as well. So, as you
Okay.
said, right, the information accessibility part of it stems from my earlier work and the thesis around how, when I explored how children with visual impairment access information. So now the umbrella is broadened for me. And so, both the current work that I do and the work around accessibility has been enormously eye opening for me on how the world functions around information, which is an indispensable, valuable resource, and how also the world revolves around our biases, which are mostly unknown, and how the world is designed indirectly, taking us away from inclusion. So it's been an eye opening journey around the work that I've been doing overall, Priyanka.
So, so Tejaswini, I see that it's a challenging job, an innovative one, where you're dealing with people. And inclusion is something that globally companies and even schools, if we say, as you talked about visually impaired, so people are struggling. So I really want to know when it comes to individual differences, dealing with diversity, what really is the concept of DIDEAB? What is it? And tell me more about it.
Yes, it's a very important question, Priyanka. Thank you for asking that. So let me clarify. So what those the acronym stands for. So the I is for inclusion. That's the aim. Diversity for D. E is for equity. A is for accessibility. And the end result again is belonging, the sense of belonging. All these words you might have heard, the realm seems very much at hand. It's like a neighboring world. And yet at the same time, it seems very complex and elusive at the same time. So let me just quickly define for you
Right.
when I just talked about the acronym, not in that particular order, but let me go get a start at it. So
Absolutely, absolutely.
diversity is something that exists, right? But it is about, in this context, diversity is about welcoming all the ways we are all different, both visible
Right.
and invisible differences, and promoting a wide range of different people and
People.
perspectives participating on a given platform. So let's say if it's a workplace, having that diversity on board. Equity is about recognizing that each person is has different circumstances, different needs, has had access to different resources, opportunities.
Hmm.
However, it has to reach an equal outcome. So equity is about understanding that differences, that there is a need for equity and not everybody stands at the same place.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Inclusion, again, is about valuing people's unique ideas, their perspectives, their lived experiences, and ensuring that they feel involved, they feel respected, they feel connected, and have their voice heard. Through all this, again, indirectly, then once you feel make people feel included, you're also giving them a sense of belonging. And belonging is about creating that culture where people can be themselves, feel psychologically safe, they can appreciate each other, and they feel that they belong at that bigger picture there at any given platform. Now, for in our instance, we are let's take example of being belonging at the workplace, for instance.
Right.
And accessibility towards the end, I put accessibility at the end because I have often seen accessibility is something not talked about when we talk about diversity, equity, inclusion. But accessibility is
Right.
very important. um, it means you have a place, environment, event, or information, anything that is set up to be accessible for all, right? And which also
Oh,
includes people
wonderful.
with disabilities and
Yes.
all the diversity that you have invited on the platform. Everything is accessible to
Right.
them equally. So understanding this
Beautiful.
terminology is important. It is the first step. However, the
Right.
next part is even more crucial, and there are two things that I'd like to call out. One
Please tell.
is that you see how everything is connected, right? Diversity, equity, inclusion, belonging,
Yes.
access, they're all interconnected. So we should be acknowledging that they are interconnected, that there is this intersectionality. um, and this is more helpful when anybody of us is trying to work towards being inclusive. The approach
Correct.
has to be holistic.
Holistic. It's everyone coming together, building an organization where
Yes.
all the needs are met. I
Yes,
agree.
absolutely. Yes. And the second thing that I would like to call out is that you recognize that you have your own biases and beliefs at the same time while you're working towards being inclusive. So, when you recognize your own biases and beliefs and act over it, then your journey towards being inclusive and then having this diversity, equity, belonging all falls in place, right?
Right. Right.
And does it sound simple? It sounds simplistic, right? But on the way,
Yeah.
there are a lot of unknown challenges, Priyanka. Yeah.
I agree. I agree with a range of with an experience of 12 plus years seriously with you as I listen to it today because I feel it's a powerful approach. So because the political corporate industrial revolutions that we've seen in
Yeah.
the past and that are coming in the future, I realize that these elements are important for everyone to thrive and give their best, and maybe a very important approach for organizations to follow, and with coaches like you or everyone who need to really imbibe this in an organization, because I love these concepts, although they sound very simple, as you say, but they're doable. So these are important elements. So now I understand that it's challenging. With your experience that you work with the organizations, it could be challenging. So what could be the reasons, according to you, could interfere in applying these, or applying these concepts? What could be the challenges? What things could get in your way of applying these approaches?
Hmm. Okay, I'm going to ask you a question. Do you think it is the complexity of the topic, the awareness around the thought of the topic? Could that be a reason? Maybe not the true reason. I feel when you think a little deeper, the elusivity around this topic is more due to our own biases and less due to the complexities of the topic in itself. And I've observed that people have assumptions. We all do. And people also assume around this domain that it's, oh, diversity, equity, inclusion, blah blah blah, this is all good to know, but maybe there's not much for me to actively contribute. And
Absolutely.
this thought
How to do
itself,
it.
yes, and this thought itself, if you understand, it stems from your own biases and beliefs, which is not true. So the next question again, I would like to elaborate there is, what can I do? What can each one of you do to be more aware, thoughtful, and a supportive ally to this world? To be truly inclusive there. Uh, I'll put out of the experiences that I've had, and that you could get a whole list of things that you could do. But what works and what's most powerful are two things again. One is holding the space for the other person, and not assuming but asking how best can you support in a given situation or to a given individual. These, I think, are a best way to begin on being truly inclusive, to begin, being an ally of, or be a diversity inclusive in equity inclusion enthusiast. I think these two ways are going to be the golden rule on, beginning and being
Looking
there
to,
on your
yeah,
journey. if you're if you're a part of an organization, and of course, if you're working somewhere, I'm sure that your workplace, so in addition to these golden rules, I'm sure your workplace has a list of do's and don'ts, or
correct.
has a list of recommendations for you. I mean, I would
Yes,
encourage
yes.
you to a fresher look at it. Also, I think I acknowledge for everybody here that one might feel lost. How would you support a group that you don't know much about? So let's say I want to be inclusive, I want to be an inclusion ally, but how do I support? Because I don't know what I'm dealing with, I don't know what I'm supporting, and therefore these golden rules, right? uh, for example, if you look at areas of very specific inclusion of people with disabilities,
Yes.
requires to know what are their challenges, and what is it that you can do. And again, if you look at
Support.
it,
Yeah.
the golden rules that I said, holding the
Correct.
space, asking them, is going to help. And
Absolutely.
of course, there's a lot of documentation in place that can help you guide, but a strong intent is the beginning.
So you're saying that it begins with the organizations and the individual's willingness to at least give it a thought to this approach
Yes.
and taking small steps. Okay, this is deeply interesting for me, frankly, because the highlight, I feel, it is to be more mindful, build awareness. It starts with maybe developing an attitude in people, a conscious attitude in workplaces that we need to have it, or maybe people from all designations, so right from the scratch. So as an ACC, okay, with you as an enriching experience of working with people with organizations. I'm sure everyone who's hearing with us and with us an audience, tell us how everyone needs the IDEA wisdom and how can they offer and help others.
Um, of course, everybody, as I said, right, everybody can and needs to actively contribute towards, the inclusion diversity realm. And we've said that how is it going to help them and how is it going to help the workplace and the society in general. So for example, let me begin with the basics, right? So if you're at your workplace and if you are very aware and you have the intent to be inclusive, you have the intent to be an inclusion ally or support this realm, you are going to help build a culture. You're going to probably help build the processes with a new lens, because then you're going to say, okay, now this is my regular process at work. Am I making sure that I'm being inclusive through my processes? Or if you, let's say, if you are recruiting people at your organization, you can check, do I have any recruitment biases in my thought process? Do I have any recruitment biases in the overall process?
Overall process, yeah.
Maybe that wisdom is going to help you re-look at what you're doing already. That's number one. Help build a culture. A very interesting point again is it's also going to help you bring in a lot of innovation and ideas to the table. So because the moment you're inviting diversity and you're supporting inclusion, you're helping people feel belong to the organization, to the team, to the work, you're encouraging a lot of innovation at workplace as well. So innovation, newer ideas, things that are going to benefit you, things that are going to benefit the organization, things that are going to benefit the society as a whole. So when you're equipped with this lens and this intent of diversity, equity, inclusion, you are going to be doing all these things and much, much more,
Right,
right?
right.
And if you think of going outside the workplace, let's say, I'm not right now working, but maybe I'm going to or whatever. So outside the workplace also, with this newer lens or this newer hat of diversity, equity, inclusion ally, it's going to improve your overall decision making, because you're going to consider now, oh, everyone's viewpoint on the table, whatever that is. What's going to work for everyone? What benefit does that newer idea have for me? What variations should I be providing to what I'm already doing? So the crux there is that
Absolutely.
this
Right.
wisdom, you can actively contribute towards inclusion at work, at other areas. For example, broadening your own understanding of your unconscious biases. You're actively
Right.
listening to what others have to say at work, off work. You're helping other or everybody amplify their voices to be, so that they're heard. And it's such a beautiful contribution that each one of you can make, and it's going to be very, very powerful.
Also an approach towards self growth, as you correctly mentioned. So
Yes, yes, absolutely.
so so does it also help in facilitating better client growth?
Yes, yes, why not? Because you are definitely bringing in all the best ideas, you're bringing in newer ideas, you're very actively listening to what the client is saying. So, definitely, yes.
Amazing. So thank you for answering this very important question, because it's a crucial approach which empowers, as you say, the organization and the people themselves
Yeah.
at all the levels. And if applied systematically, thoughtfully, organizations can move towards inclusion in better ways. Okay, these are interesting insights, Tejaswini, for me. And there is a broad agreement that there is diversity and the workplaces need inclusion. Okay, it is important for coaches and strategists, okay, to really do what to really get into and do something that works for everyone, although it is a difficult task. Now I'm going to ask you my own favorite question, like, What is it like to be a coach? Okay, practicing IDAB, and tell us about your coaching journey. I'm sure all of our audience today who joins us would love to know you and how it has impacted your work today with this approach and also being an ICF certified coach.
Lot of questions there and all interesting ones. I think it is a fabulous feeling to be a coach and also have the lens of diversity, equity, inclusion always on in whatever I'm doing. Like I mentioned the benefits earlier, personally, it has definitely helped me to be a better coach and also be a better diversity, equity, inclusion ally at the same time. So it's helping me to be a better inclusive coach all at the same time. And while I introduced myself today, there was another thought that popped up, and I saw a pattern there. What around what I've been doing so far. The pattern is around supporting people in a variety of ways and levels, and with a variety
Right,
of tools and approaches, right? Which includes
correct.
supporting people to be, supporting people to thrive, and which could be together better through learning, through the coaching that I'm doing, for example.
Right.
My life experiences, values, etc., also have had led me to always think of inclusion as always a layer of anything that I do, and coaching is therefore no exception for it. So, the overall coaching journey so far has been very phenomenal. So, it has helped me be a better me. It has helped me carry on with my added apparatus to support people through coaching. And it makes me feel very peaceful with the work that I'm able to be an inclusive coach, trying to get better each day. And I think I thank all my coaches, my mentors, my coachees, and well wishers for being an indispensable part of this phenomenal journey so far.
That's amazing because there's such powerful messages, Tejaswini, here as you shared. That along with helping people grow, you're also evolving yourself as a person. I'm realizing that this is an important concept and an approach. And you have had your own journey, ICF certified ACC, addressing today to a platform, a wonderful platform for coaches and other professionals. So tell us about as you already started talking about it, and how do you think coaches now a message from a
Hmm.
coach to coach, where how do you think coaches can add on their IDAB approach and wisdom into
Hmm.
coaching? So some messages for them or the level of applications that they can go through.
Yes. Uh, I think this is a very good extension of the earlier question that you had, Priyanka. And I see a very big opportunity. It's a twofold opportunity because the awareness and knowledge about these aspects of diversity, equity, and inclusion are going to help me as a coach and to all coaches in two ways. One, as I just mentioned earlier, around your personal journey, but also your personal journey as a coach. So, to better equip your own coaching capabilities, right? You're leading to an enhanced coaching experience with this new lens that you have, or this improved lens that you have. So, for
Building
example,
new
if I want to
skills,
be
right?
yes. So, if you want to be specific, so if I want to talk about coaching and the DNI lens here, and get very specific around the coaching competencies, right? All coaches adhere to the coaching competencies, and all with the coaching competencies and what we have spoken about DNI, all this aligns very beautifully. For example, as a coach, it is very crucial that we offer a space of trust and openness, right? For which your diversity and inclusion
Right.
awareness is a very solid foundation. And I'm going to quote some competencies as I speak. So, as a coach, the competency where you say you have to embody a coaching mindset. I think this is a very apt opportunity to use your awareness of self, the biases that you've worked on, your intuition to benefit the clients. Um, And of course, furthermore, you can definitely apply your other coaching competencies, right? You for example, you have to cultivate trust and maintain safety, maintain your presence. You have to actively listen, right? So if you look at all these coaching competencies, you are adding added level of finesse with the DNI awareness, and
Right.
whatever wisdom you gain through this webinar today and otherwise. So it's going to help you do better as a coach and take that level, at a higher grade, at more impactful.
Yeah,
The
creating
other
a wholesome approach altogether.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. The other part that I'd like to again benefit, or that I'd like to highlight here, is that you're also, through this wisdom, you're better equipped to empower your coachee, right? Um, Again, quoting from the coaching competencies with your DNI added knowledge and your core competencies, you're going to better able to evoke awareness in your clients, in your coaches. So for example, you're
Yes.
better able
Yes.
to consider client experience while deciding what's going to be most useful. You're going to be better able to challenge the client as you're trying to evoke their awareness. You're going to be better able to ask questions in a client for to the client in a way that they are going to think about their values, their needs, wants, beliefs, and also help them
Right.
explore beyond the current thinking, right? Or for example, if you're trying to better help them facilitate their own growth, right, the client's growth.
Yes.
Now,
Okay.
with this
Okay.
lens, you will be able to integrate this newer awareness and insight into their worldview and behaviors. You're going to encourage that questioning in them, identify potential opportunities and action items or methods of accountability, whatever goes into the facilitating that client growth, because now you have uncovered your own biases, you have more
Right.
knowledge now, and you're going to impact all the work that you do in a lot of ways that I just explained.
Right. Maybe you help you through this approach. You help people to think differently, bring some shifts in the perspectives, and maybe work accordingly. So
Yes.
I understand as I hear you talking about competencies, like we have in the DEAI approach. This also aligns, as you correctly mentioned, with the ICF core competencies. I remember we discussed when we met last time. And it's interesting how a coach can imbibe these elements together and create, as we said, as a wholesome approach to make it more maybe humane, okay, than just sticking to the professional journey. So I understand that you began. So we got to know about the work that you do, your role, the approach of IDAB as a IDAB in applying, helping people thrive. So overall, I understand that you began your journey with Matrix. So Matrix, with being one organization that I'm also associated with. How was your journey with Matrix, as an emerging coach years ago? So tell us more about it.
Yes, absolutely. In fact, Matrix has been the master key for me that I discovered along the way. It has been phenomenal, wonderful journey till now, and of course, it continues. My journey with Matrix, if I think of it, began right, with the first inquiry I made with Matrix around my coaching certification, and from the inquiry to the certification, it has been a smooth ride, and of course a very eye-opening one, because when you are getting certified to be a coach, right, you're learning a lot
Yeah.
on the way. The
Yes,
and the
learning
core
never ends. I
learning,
agree.
yes, the core learning, the interactions that you have with your peers, the workshops that we are all together on, the discussions, the practice opportunities that we've had so far, that has been immensely powerful, if I may say. And I think I'm a different better person, number one. Plus, of course, I'm an active coach now. I'm partnering with new people, being with them on their exploration and growth journeys, which is a superb opportunity that came to me through Matrix. For immense
Great.
gratitude to Matrix, to Dr. Paras, and everybody who's been on this with me. Amazing. Thank you so much for everything, Matrix.
I'm sure there are a lot of amazing things that you would do ahead in your endeavors. Tejaswini, I'm always intrigued by people who really work as a coach because they bring empowerment in on another level. Some are seen, some are unseen, and I understand that the process of being a coach is also ardent because now that I interact with coaches through Matrix, and I understand that it's a tedious process. I know with Matrix, it's a great learning platform, a perfect platform to really grow. So tell us about your role of ICF. Tell us about how ICF
Hmm.
is, what you feel about the reputation, its credibility in the business today, and how important it is to have be an ICF certified coach. I mean, if you could highlight its importance to all the
Hmm.
coaches and in future.
Um, yes. So if you look at the coaching world, Priyanka, the coaching world is, largely a not so governed world per se, because for the simple reason that it's very vast around the concepts. There's a lot of subjectivity of thought. There could be a variety of approaches, and all of it is valuable. Okay, the subjectivity, the approaches, etc. All are valuable, but the vastness could also be very confusing at times, especially if you're a budding coach. And there, I think ICF, or the coaching federation, comes to your rescue, because what the ICF has done is it gives you that they've brought in a lot of structure, they've brought in clarity and credibility to the coaching world as a whole.
Yes.
And the ICF credentials, of course, they make sure that you have undergone their stringent education and the experience and the practice requirements that they have. And therefore, the ICF coaching, again, and even if you go to the core and the education of ICF, the ICF coaching competencies are uh, they've offered you the standard core competencies that are
Yeah.
established and looked up to in the
Yes.
industry. Once you have a certification, it's equipping you with the credibility around the coaching competencies, the standardization, the ethics, the solid ethics foundation as you start practicing as a coach in the world. So I think it's a combination: the solid foundation of education, the experience, the credibility. It's all very important as you onboard on your coaching journey, and that is what ICF does to this entire world of coaching, I feel.
That's it gives you a solid foundation. I agree, as I understand.
Mhm.
So actually, today's webinar, Tejaswini, I feel it's a classic example of the extent to
Mm.
which the coaching can be powerful, the approaches to where we can address by which we can address inclusion, diversity, equity, accessibility to improve leadership, bringing growth in organizations and professionals. So I address like to all coaches. I usually, when I speak to Dr. Paras and when we communicate, so I address to all the coaches as catalysts towards bringing inner transformations, and how IDAB also can be embraced. So probably you guys as coaches are doing a great job helping people to thrive. And on the same line, Tejaswini, now if I ask you one question, what is your message to the ones who wish to be a coach? Because I'm sure we have at Matrix we have people learning to be coaches. So when they hear you, so it's always good to hear from people who are already in the field, an established coach. So what is your message?
Yes. So I would say to all budding coaches and would be coaches, coaching is a very, very powerful tool, I would say. And definitely worth having a certification around that tool. which is going to enable you uh, also to get the certification, but also then start practicing it with those with
Right.
that power. And then therefore also you're equipped to empower others through your coaching, right? So the journey, if you're onto it on the coaching journey, it's going to make sure that there is immense internal growth for each one of you, while you get equipped to support others. So it's a lot of work that you do first, before even you hold that space of support and partnership for others. And definitely, as I said, earlier, the ICF credentials are something of
Yes.
value, something to be eyed, something to be looked up to. So if you are someone who wishes to better yourself first, and then support others to
Yes.
shine, support others so that they thrive, if that's, that rings a bell, just jump onto the journey, and there's going to be no looking back for you. And when you do venture out as a coach, make sure that you're an inclusive one, with this now, with the recent chat that we've just had, Priyanka.
Yes. Absolutely. That's a very important message that comes along with following IDAB. Very helpful to the audience, Tejaswini, I must say. We had this amazing conversation where we quickly run through and we went through the concepts. Everyone who's watching us today, to all the coaches who've registered and who will be seeing us in the future. So, are there any final messages? Are there any final shares? Any experiences that you would like to share with everyone before we conclude the session?
Absolutely, I think. First, I would like to call out, I think this was a great opportunity, a great conversation that we just had, Priyanka, for me and you, to share about the DNI world and the intersection about coaching, as we just said. I've enjoyed the conversation with you and, of course, with the audiences. And to summarize, I would want to reiterate a few points. The diversity inclusion hat is very strong, and the diversity, equity, inclusion that we are talking about cannot happen without each one of you. Because you are the diversity and you are the one who's going to bring in the inclusion and all the other areas that we spoke about. Whatever role you are in, remember that you have an important contribution to make. Now, if you are a coach, you have an added advantage here. Now, you're equipped with this new knowledge around diversity, equity, inclusion on your coaching journey. And I'm sure that all of you are going to benefit and contribute as well. It's not going to happen without you, and your active contribution is what I'll call out again. And a big thank you for having me here, to you, Priyanka, to Dr. Paras, to the entire Matrix family. It was amazing conversation that I've had.
Oh, it was pleasure to have you, Tejaswini, because the webinar today was an important one because we highlighted and you with your experience brought the concept into picture, and that is where the awareness begins. So personally, it was also professionally, it was closely related to me because I've been working, I like work with children, and so that is where we see with inclusion. So I'm sure the feelings are mutual for everyone who joined us today, and also very much will view us whenever they see us. So thank you for taking us, Tejaswini, through these crucial elements of IDAB and sharing your experiences with Matrix, your journey as a coach, as an ACC, and the massive role ICF is playing in not producing but bringing these amazing talented coaches to the world. So for people who really want to embark on their journey, coaching journey, I feel that this can be a good avenue to start with and a good approach to imbibe. So maybe IDABH has to be a mandatory practice that organization has to follow. I see. That is what is important today. So thank you, Tejaswini, for joining in. It was a pleasure having you, along with everyone who's joined. Like to highlight that Matrix is coming up with this next ACC, PCC, and MCC journey starting from 20th July. So again, it's going to be a wholesome experience for all of us to enjoy. In case anyone is keen to explore the ICA Global Coach Certificate, you can visit us on the website. Thank you, Tejaswini, for joining us, and it was a great experience. Everyone who's watching us today, coaching is not only a career and a journey. As Tejaswini, you could say, you could tell us that it's a journey in itself. So, thank you, Tejaswini, for bringing a powerful approach. And thank you, everyone who joined us today with a great evening in India and a good afternoon for me in France. So we will be back again with a new guest next time. So Tejaswini, thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you.
I am a coach connecting officer Priyanka signing out for today. Thank you, Tejaswini. To everyone.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.